Hi you two, welcome to a science lesson. So this science lesson is going to be the first lesson in a brand new science topic. And we're going to start things off by thinking about what you might choose to take with you if you were going to travel alone for 2 weeks on a secret space mission. So I'd like you to have a think about what you would take with you if you were traveling somewhere like space, somewhere really far away, somewhere where you're not going to have access to the things that you might use just generally in your day-to-day life. And pause the video and think, what would you take with you? What would be the most important things you would pack in your suitcase? Okay, it's a little bit of a shame that I won't be able to hear some of your ideas, but I want you to keep those things that you've just said in your head. You might have written them down on a sheet of paper, which is good as well. And I want you to have a think about this word here. This word is survive. What does the word survive mean? Lovely. Survive means to continue to be alive. So staying alive. And have a think then about some of those things that you would pack in your suitcase on your mission to space. Do you think you would need those things that you've packed to keep you alive? So let's start to have a think about some of the things that we might find around our home or around school that we have to help us keep alive. What can you think of? You might think about things maybe like phones, your home itself, an actual shelter, food, a wide variety of food as well, maybe devices, water, a bed to sleep in. What things do you think you have that you might need to survive? Super, so let's have a look then. Even though there are many things that humans like to have to be happy or comfortable or even safe or healthy, there are actually only 3 things that humans need, and other animals as well, to be able to survive. And remember, without these things, you wouldn't be able to live at all. You just would not be able to be alive. So these things are so important for us to stay alive. They are called our basic needs. And the things that we need to be able to stay alive are, and you might have said this already in some of your ideas from the other slides, they are air. Have a think, why do we need air? What does air help us to do? That's right, air helps us to breathe, and if we couldn't breathe, then we wouldn't be able to live at all. And then another thing that we need to stay alive is food. That's right, well done. We need to be able to eat because food gives us our energy to be able to move about. And also water. Think about what we need water for in our body. It keeps us hydrated and it helps our body to perform all of its functions properly. So let's have a look then through these things. Air, mammals, reptiles, birds, those animals breathe air through their nose and through their mouth. And those animals have lungs in their bodies that help them to use the air that their body is taking in. But then there are different animals, some animals like fish, for example, or other animals that live in the sea. They don't breathe the air in the same way that they do. They have special organs called gills, and you might see them looking like lines on the side of them. Food looks different to all different kinds of animals. You might eat differently to your brothers or sisters, or you might eat differently to a cow, and a cow eats differently to a lion, and a lion eats differently to a fish. So all different animals have their own type of food. So some animals, they only eat other types of animals. And some animals, they only eat plants. And some animals, they eat a mixture of plants and other animals. So these animals that only eat other animals, they are called carnivores. Can you say that word? Carnivore. Fantastic. And if you're an animal that only eats other plants, so if you're an animal that only eats plants, then you're called a herbivore. Super duper. And if you're one of those animals like humans where you eat a mixture of animals and plants, then you're called an omnivore. Fantastic. I have a feeling that you might know some of these words from year one. So well done if you remembered those as well. And then water. So animals that live on the land, they need to get water by drinking. And also there's lots of food that contains water as well. So drinking and eating gives us the water that we need to be able to survive. But then animals that live in the water, they take in the water sometimes by drinking, but also through their skin and from the food that they eat. Super. So those are the three things that we need to be able to survive and stay alive. Without them, we could not be alive at all. But obviously, there are some other things that are important for making sure that we live safely and healthily. We don't need them to survive, but they give us a better quality of life. Can you have a think about what some of those things might be? Super. So you might have said things like, for example, shelter. We don't need shelter to survive, but it helps to keep us safe and warm, and we can certainly get ill and run into problems if we don't have shelter there to keep us warm and safe. Things like exercise as well. Exercise is really important for making sure that you are healthy and strong. And sometimes you can get poorly if you're not keeping your body fit. And sleep as well. Sleep's really important, especially for helping your brain and your body to recover. But also, health looks different in lots of different situations. So, for example, you might say that your family is important for keeping you safe and healthy. And also having things in your house that will help to keep you clean are also important for keeping you healthy as well. But we don't need those things to be able to survive. We can live without them, but these are things that are important for keeping us healthy. So your job today then, year two, is to have a look at these different things, and you need to sort them into this table. You need to sort them into things that we need to survive. So have a think. How many things do you think are going to be in this column? How many basic needs do we have that we need to be able to survive? That's right, you're going to have three things here, those three things that we talked about earlier. And then we've got some other things that we need to be healthy or safe. We could live without them, but they're really important for having a high quality of life. So which of these things are important but not essential? And then we've also got a column for things that are not at all important, things that we could live without, things that many people do live without, and they are not essential to surviving or staying healthy. And then if you finish the activity, there is another one here for you where there are some statements, and you need to decide whether this is true or false by writing it in the box here. Super duper. So after today's lesson, you should have been able to explain what the word survival means. You should be able to say what the three basic needs are for every single animal, and you should also be able to say what other things are important for living safely and healthily, as well as thinking about some things that we don't need at all. So well done, year two, for getting through another lesson at home. You're doing a really good job, and I'm really excited to see all the work that you send into your class email address. Bye.